What's up, everybody? Today is an update video. I bought just 3 weeks ago 9 single family properties that were just beat to the ground, and I need to do a bunch of rehabs to them to make them valuable again, put them back to what they once were, and try to get some money out of them. We bought them for $670,000 roughly, with about $22,000 of seller credits to help me get to the finish line. We're using a hard money lender that covered that entire cost, plus the rehab budget, which we had budgeted $123,000. And so far we have 7 out of the 9 properties complete. And guess what we came in at? $65,000 or so. So when you're doing the math, you're trying to, they're giving you a quote based on what they see, but once they get into the actual work, they realize, hey, this is actually less expensive than what we anticipated. So the cost for me to do these rehabs could be, let's say, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 less than what we had anticipated. So what I already had thought was a good deal, a deal where I got paid as the buyer and the seller had to bring money. I did a video about that in a Hawaiian shirt because I was like, this never happens. This is kind of unique. I thought it was interesting. This deal was already good as it was. Now it might be getting even better. I mean, we're ripping through these things like nobody's business. I'm already working on the follow-on financing to get off the hard money, which is high interest, not a place you want to stay. As an example, these 9 houses with about an $800,000 loan balance cost us $10,000 a month. They don't even bring in $10,000 a month gross, let alone net, minus all your expenses, your taxes, everything else. So we're underwater, right? But there's enough meat on the bone with this deal that I think is worth doing. And we think that it'll be worth about $1.2 million on the back end. We'll be in it for $800,000. There's a delta of about $400,000. We won't be able to get all of that unless we sell these properties, but we're going to do a refinance, probably a cash out refinance. We might be able to get 100, maybe 150 grand, and we'll see how that plays out. Of course, I'll make another video about that when that time comes, but right now we're in the midst of the rehab. 7 out of 9 properties complete. I'll throw up all the emails so you guys can kind of see what's up, but I want to talk real quick. I've got my email up right now on my phone, and I want to talk about the draw requests. So when you do a hard money loan and you need rehab funds, this is my first time ever doing that. I always just fund the rehab ourselves. We use our cash flow to pay for the rehab, which has gotten us into some tricky situations from time to time, but I like doing it better than taking on a loan where I'm going to be paying interest on it. In this case, the budget was just too big. We needed to have something, otherwise we were going to be like robbing Peter to pay Paul times a million. So the way it works is that you put in the work to fix up the properties, right? You buy it, let's say for $100,000, and you think it's gonna be worth $200 on the back end, and you request a $20,000 rehab budget. So you buy the place for $100, you do the work. They're gonna ask you before you even close on the property for a scope of work, where you're gonna say, I'm gonna replace the siding, this much siding at this cost. I'm gonna replace the flooring, this many square feet at this cost. And you're gonna break it all down itemized, so that way they can look at it and say, okay, this person has a budget of $20,000. This is exactly what they have to do to meet that budget. And then when it comes time for you to get the money, you show them pictures and videos and all this stuff of the work being completed, and then they're going to cut you a check for what you said it would cost you to do. So that's an incentive for you to stay under budget, or on budget at least, because if you go way over budget, they're only going to give you the money that you said it was going to cost you to do it. And obviously they have left and right limits. They're going to push back if you totally overestimate or underestimate something, but that's the general idea. So you buy a place for $100, you do the flooring, and let's say you budgeted $10,000 for that. You take pictures, you take videos of the flooring being completed, you send it off to your hard money lender, they take a look at it, they approve it, hopefully, and say, okay, sounds good, and they're going to send you the $10,000 that it cost you to do that job. Now you're flush with cash again, hopefully, and you can use that cash to get yourself to the next point. Now for me, it's a little bit different because my property manager was facilitating all of this stuff. So the way that they handle is they fronted everything up front. They did the work. Now the money's going to come out on the back end. It's getting sent directly to me, the work for the rehab. And the way that they're going to receive the money is they're going to pull it from my rents that are coming in every month. And I don't have enough rents in that LLC to cover the cost of the rehab. So likely at the end of the month, there's going to be a debt. And the way that we've handled debts in the past is either it's going to get deducted from the next month. So I'm going to start in the hole, let's say $20,000, and I'm going to inch my way back out over the next couple months. Or they're going to say, hey, you're carrying a $20,000 balance, like we need some money, and I'll cut them a check for the difference. And so that's kind of how it works out, right? There's a couple different ways you can handle it. The way I'm handling it, property manager quoted it, property manager did it, via their different companies and people that they have associations with. They're going to deduct those expenses from my income for this month. So against all the rents that we're bringing in. And actually, before we talked about all this, they had already inputted into our portal. So when I logged in, I saw like $70,000 of expenses, and I hadn't correlated in my brain that was all the rehab stuff because I didn't know they were going to put it in there. So for the moment, I was like, oh my God, what happened? Like, we're going to be way underwater this month. How am I going to get through this month? But it turns out it's the rehab, and we're already going to get paid out for that. So it's going to be a net zero to us. And that's kind of how you can handle that. When it comes to hard money, like I've always said, it's easy to get. If you're a reputable person, you have good credit, all that stuff, they will give you the money. Somebody will give you the money. The problem is using the money responsibly, not getting yourself over leveraged, and not letting deadlines extend out, right? It's costing us $10,000 a month to hold just this one loan on top of all the other loans that we just discussed in the previous video. So you can see that if this got extended, if this didn't go as fast as it's going right now, if you do this in bad weather and it gets delayed and this and that, you're just hemorrhaging money, interest payments, and you have no clear end in sight. So it's important that if you're going to do something like this, you're going to go get hard money, you're going to do a rehab project, you're going to have money set aside for the rehab. It's a great way to use somebody else's money, OPM as they call it, other people's money, to get a job done that you couldn't otherwise fund yourself. But you can totally screw yourself if you don't have a good plan. And more than one person out there has done that. And if you've done that, feel free to reach out in the comments and let us know your story, because that happens. And it could have easily happened to us in this project. We're just extremely fortunate that we are 3 weeks into ownership and we're almost done with the entire project, which is insane. Like I said, we're already working on the follow-on financing, which is more than likely going to result into some net gain that we get. It will be tax-free, of course, because we're going to do a cash-out refinance. So again, just double tap that. You buy the places for $800 with your rehab, everything's all included, $800,000. Now it's worth $1.2 million, we think, roughly, plus or minus $50,000, let's say. They're going to do an appraisal on that, and your options are usually 75 or 80% loan to value. So 75 to 80% of the appraised value they'll give you in a new loan. And so you can see at $800,000, there's a delta between what I owe right now and what 75 and what 80% of 1.2 million is. And those are the two options. I could either get about $100,000 back, less fees, maybe 90, or I could get 160, less fees, maybe 150, 145, whatever the case may be. So the reason that that's so powerful is because it's tax-free. I owe that money back to the bank. The tenants obviously are paying for that by way of their rent, but I get that check tax-free, hits the account, and now we can redeploy it to buy other good deals elsewhere. You can also use it to buy a house or a boat or whatever. I'm choosing not to do that right now because I want to grow this to the point where maybe I could quit my day job and I could just be a part-time military pilot and a full-time real estate investor or whatever. That's the plan, that's the hope, but it takes time to do that, and the way that you do that is delaying satisfaction, delaying things for a while, so that way you can build the business up, because a couple properties isn't going to get it done, at least not for me, not the way that I like to live, not the plans that I have for the future. That's a simple kind of playbook that anybody could do. I'm not the first person to have ever talked about this, but I'm doing it right now. Having a system in place is important. If you don't have the system, it doesn't matter if you can get the money. If you don't have the deal, it doesn't matter if you can get the money. You need the system, you need the deal, you need all these things to come together, and it takes time to do that. I didn't start using hard money for the first probably couple dozen deals. The way I did it was finding partners, saving up money as best I could with a little bit of money that I was making, and putting 20% down on every property. But eventually we started to dabble with it because we had enough income coming in that we can protect ourselves if we make a mistake. And look, I've made plenty of mistakes, and I've made some that have cost us tens of thousands of dollars. If I do have a misstep, if I do have a project that goes too long, it's not going to cripple us, it's not going to put us out of business. And people, I think, try to take the easy route and use the hard money early on in their career, and it can bite them in the ass. And that's just my personal opinion. That doesn't mean that it's fact. I've just seen it happen. And what do I know, though? I'm a small investor in Milwaukee. There's people way bigger than me that might say the complete opposite. So take everything I say with a grain of salt, but I am trying to put out some good information out there to keep people from taking the easy route and try to do something that's sustainable, something that has a solid foundation. And I promise you that you'll see the fruits of that labor as time goes on. As always, I appreciate all of you watching. It's a small but kind of loyal audience, so I'm happy about that. If you've watched more than a handful of videos, I truly appreciate it. If you leave a comment, I would absolutely love it. Even if you want to tell me to go F myself, I would be happy to see that, just to interact with everybody that's watching the videos. So I appreciate it. But that's what's going on right now. That's one of many things that's happening. We've got a lot of refinances going on right now. We've got probably 5 different refinances plus this project and everything else that we're already having like kind of steady state operations. So there's a lot going on. It's a busy year for us. Hopefully this is going to yield some positive results, but like I always say, you just never know. Anything could happen, and I'm just going to keep on chugging along and see what happens. So that's all I've got to say for today. Just a quick update video, and hopefully you guys get some value out of it. I'll talk to you soon. See ya.